In this tutorial, we will learn the detailed workflow of Metapipe. In addition to the beginner tutorial, you will learn how to modify your blend shapes. Rest of the tutorial is same with beginner tutorial. Also, if this is the first time using Metapipe, I highly recommend you to watch beginner tutorial. Let's start. First, let's load up our starter scene. Then, click on the Load DNA button. This step initializes our process. Everything we change between Load DNA and Save DNA will be our final result. With the scene loaded, now we can bring in our custom meshes. Note that controllers are not working right now. They will be working after Save DNA. To use Joint Transform function, we need a main mesh and iMeshes. For the main mesh, topology and UV should match with the original Metahuman meshes. You can either use combined shape or separated ones. If you want use body mesh, then you may not add the body shape to the selection. For the iMeshes, topology is not important. You can add any two spherical objects to the selection or add them separately. Additionally, if you have other meshes like custom eye shells, cartilage, or anything else, feel free to import those as well. Otherwise, Metapipe will create other meshes on average shape. You also have the option to edit these meshes if you'd like later. Select all the meshes you want to modify. Ensure that they have the same topology and vertex order as their original references. While they're selected, hit Joint Transform. This might take a bit of time. Once it's done, you can continue making modifications like adjusting joints, moving vertices, or editing neutral pose with blend shapes. If you're all set, simply save your DNA. This rebuilds everything from scratch, so it'll also require some time. Once the DNA is saved, we'll see our updated Metahuman. Now, our controllers should be active. Let's test them out. We may want to tweak some expressions. There is a button called Blend Shape Export. This exports all the required meshes to the DNA calibration output blend shapes folder. In this tutorial, I'll only be editing the eyes. I'll use ZBrush, but you can use other sculpting programs like Blender or even Maya if you prefer. It exports the meshes that mostly used, but you can also export and modify other expressions as OBJ manually if needed. I will open ZBrush and use the subtool master in the plugins manager to multi-append all. Let's take a look at our meshes. I'll delete the ones that I won't be using. Now I can begin sculpting. If everything looks good, we can export it. Pay attention to the naming. It needs to match the previous exported mesh naming for automatic setup to work. You can check the naming from the main Blend Shapes folder. Then, it's your call, but I suggest creating a new folder named Modified and exporting them as OBJ files inside this folder. Otherwise, you can export it anywhere, but still naming will be important. Let's return to our Maya scene and batch import our modified meshes. Once imported, you can hide them for easier work. There's a new function called Blend Shape Split. It is currently experimental and will be improved on later versions. Basically, it calculates your meshes and generates combined meshes from them. Also, it can split your shapes to distribute to the controllers. This function works together with Blend Shape Edit button. This process is experimental and it is not a must. Let's generate some shapes. Clear your selection and press Blend Shape Edit button. This will recognize your shapes and automatically generate new shapes. You can still improve and sculpt on generated meshes, so it is better to increase the level one by one. First, try with only mouth shapes. As you can see now, we have a couple of more expressions. Those expressions are automatically exported to the output folder, so that you can go to ZBrush and sculpt on them. If necessary, you can fix them. And then you may create jaw shapes. After all imported, select all of them and directly hit Blend Shape Edit. It will automatically replace all related shapes. At that time, you can see the process. Another method is if you want to change a single shape, first activate Related Blend Shape Controller and duplicate the shape. Make sure your custom shapes are not inside head group. That may cause confusion. Fix the shape in any software and then import it back. Select it. Make sure only the related controller is active and press Blend Shape Edit. Alternatively, you can activate the related controller and first select the source mesh and then select the target mesh and press Blend Shape Edit. That will replace your shape as well. Testing it out, it works. You can choose whichever method you prefer or even use all methods together. And now we can proceed by clicking the toggle button. It's time to set up our body. Even if you're only focusing on the head mesh, having a body is crucial for the skeleton hierarchy. You can use the default MetaHuman body we exported earlier or import your custom mesh. Please click Prepare to export first. Let's import our body. If you used a combined shape and joint transform stage, you can get body shape easily. Simply clear your selection and click Build Body button. Alternatively, you can import your body mesh into the scene. To build the body, first you need to understand the logic behind it. If you didn't check the Building MetaHuman Body Skeleton video, I highly recommend you to watch that first. You can find more details for build body process in that video. Your custom mesh's pose should be similar to MetaHuman body pose. More accurate poses will generate more accurate results. In this tutorial, I will continue with Fix Pose function. Although Fix Pose function fixes the poses, it is always better to have an accurate pose in the beginning. Select your custom body and press Build Body. You might see a shader error due to DirectX, but it's not important. After calculations are done, press Fix Pose and I will choose Arms and Legs option. This will only fix my arms and legs orientations. Just check if your rig is working correctly. If it is, then everything is okay. After this process, you can still edit your body, meshes, and expressions. Once you're done with the shapes, let's fix our seam area. Before moving on, we also need to apply a vertex color map to the head mesh. This is a specific map and needs to be assigned to the head vertices. When we press Prepare to export, this map was generated inside the DNA calibration data folder. To assign this vertex color texture to our head and avoid seams in Unreal, select the head mesh and go to Mesh Display. Click on Paint Vertex Colors. Inside there, locate Attribute Maps and import the file. Navigate to the DNA calibration data folder and select the image named Vertex Color. After doing this, you'll notice your head mesh gets colored. It's time to export our meshes. Inside Metapipe user interface, hold-click on 3-dot and select Export Settings. We need to delete extra meshes that we don't use. Simply deselect unnecessary meshes and select only the ones that will be exported. You can only export one LOD at a time. So if you want to work with LODs, please export them one by one. And set up them inside Unreal. After deleting process, we will assign materials for each mesh to give separate shaders inside Unreal. To do that, please select meshes that should have different shader and press Material Assign. Let's set up our export settings to finalize our process. Open Export Selected Options. Inside it, make sure you have Include options. Under Geometry, please check Tangents and Binormals. Preserve Instances and Referenced Assets Content. Turn off Animation. Check all of other settings, and when you set them, you can close window. At the end, you will have head and body FBX files and a DNA file. Please click on Export. And that's it! Good luck with your metahumans, and bye.